So, this is a video response to a comment from Jeremy Heiner. He was commenting on my video on the order of operations of isms. And he writes, I propose a thought experiment. In the world of Gattaca, people use technology that could instantly analyze any prospective mate's genetics. This didn't require any consent or even awareness from the person being analyzed. Let's pretend we live in a world with a technology that could instantly, unobtrusively, and anonymously identify people, even strangers, who would say they were theist. Some magically 100% accurate Google Glass app that displayed theist tags on anyone with insight who would honestly self-identify as such. But that's all it could tell you. Zero nuance. Just if person would honestly answer yes to are you an atheist, then display theist tag. He wrote that part in some sort of web code with brackets and stuff, but it looks like logic. How much would you pay for such an app? Personally, I would not install the app even if they paid me, because the information it offers, even though magically 100% accurate, is utterly useless. Rerun the experiment substituting atheist for theist, same result. Please note that no definitions were specified for either term. Perhaps we can learn something from this thought experiment about how important the argument over these definitions is. Well, Jeremy, I'm actually thinking about how we can now have the technology for those Google Glasses to identify people based on pictures that are already on the internet, right? Just like the FBI has the ability to do facial recognition, and certain other places you might have, been unobtrusively surveilled, like at an airport, with facial recognition technology that might have gotten you pulled out of line and, searched a little bit more than everybody else. I'm saying that the technology, it exists. It's not being used in the method that you're saying to just immediately put that information to the forefront. But it exists, and it's existed for a long time. If you were to go to a, let's say, conference for doctors, if you were a doctor, and you could look at the name badges that everybody has, all it would take would be for you to look for someone's Facebook profile and then see what they self-identify as, because lots of people put in the About section what their religious convictions are. And that would be at least accurate as to the last time they updated their Facebook profile. But I'm sure employers do this all the time. Screen people's Facebooks and whatnot. So yeah, I think the technology is already there to get a pretty good answer if you want to go digging for it. It's just not there in a way that just immediately tells you, before you have any conversation with this person, blink, this is what they are. And I think that's because people really aren't looking for that to begin with. I do imagine, though, that there might be an app that you could put on your cell phone that would identify you as an atheist and then spit out your grid coordinates to a larger server that would tell people when they were within, 100 paces of another person of a similar mindset, whatever that they signed up for, like atheism or feminism or Christianity or a specific dimension of Christianity. Like, I like talking about the Old Testament. There might be the Old Testament Geezers Club. There might be tennis players. There might be perverts like the Phantom Lion. Who knows? But you could have an app that would track where you are. I mean, people do that with that was a whole commercial with Boost Mobile. Like they know where each other's at because they have that app on their phone. That was big technology when it came out. Now nobody uses it, but they could, in a way that would let people interact with more local, like-minded people. You could have a Democrat app and a Republican app, and it would just lead you right to other people. Of course, you could get that by just going to your precinct caucus, which, nobody's doing that, especially not in off years when the president isn't being elected. That's how I became a precinct leader. But, yeah, I think that we're not that far off from being able to tell if we want to know. And that's weird. There's a lot of people out there that don't want to be open about it. And personally, I have lost a job over people knowing it. And I know other people who have lost employment chances for their convictions. My personal feelings about that are that I'm doing okay, and way back when that happened, I didn't need that job. If somebody really feels that way about your beliefs, then you probably don't want to be working with them. So I feel lucky that I'm not stuck working with those people. So I do see that people, if that information was just put out there up front to begin with, they might be a little bit more prejudiced and stereotypical about people, and maybe not even try to get to know them. I mean, I think the two Muslim people that I talked to the most, I didn't even know that they were Muslims for probably months. I just kept talking to them. One was wearing a headscarf and I didn't realize it. I just figured she did it for the style. You don't run into many Hispanic Muslims, I've never known anyone to be named Muhammad Martinez, but I'm pretty sure somebody who subscribed to me knows a Muhammad Martinez. But yeah, I think that not knowing that about a person lets you find out more about them than you would if you knew that stuff up front. It's also been a thing in my life lately where there are certain words that I realize that I hear a lot more of than other words. And because I have a channel that is pretty much based about my experiences as an atheist in America, I hear the word atheist a lot. But I got to tell you, before the year 2010, when I started this channel, I didn't hear atheist more than once a week. The word. At all. Like, I think I went months without hearing it again because it just didn't come up. Maybe one of my family would be say, "Oh yeah, you don't believe," but they wouldn't even say the word atheist. I mean, it's just such an alien word to who I was back then. Now I hear it almost hourly. During the heyday of the Occupy movement, Occupy this and Occupy that, Occupy Walmart, Occupy, and then every other city's name at the end permutation, you know. Our city's Occupy movement had something called OccuDog, the dog that they adopted. So the Occupy everything, Occupy the internets, Occupy the ballot box, Occupy everything. And I got sick of hearing the word occupy and hearing it applied to everything, you know. There's even an Occupy the Bible Facebook group, and I was invited as a member. So it would surprise me if there was not any mention online of occupying belly button lint, because everything had to be occupied when that was a thing. So it's the word and its prevalence that I know that when I was filming the Occupy movement and going down to film them a lot, I was in a different reality than most people were experiencing. In many places in America, people went along their regular lives and did not even know that the Occupy movement even happened. You know? There are people in America who don't even know who the president is. You know? But I realize that, like, you put yourself in different situations, and different words and different labels become far more important. You know? I, as a delegate, I hear a lot more political labels than other people. And whenever I hear the word liberty, it carries with it connotations that I'm immediately looking for. You know, if somebody names their Facebook group Colorado Sons of Liberty, I immediately have this baggage in my head that I apply to that. Whereas some people might be naive enough to think that that might be a group friendly to the ACLU, you know, or people who like going around in nudist colonies. You know, what kind of liberty do they mean? No, to me, liberty has a connotation to it that is different because I have involved myself in politics. And I think that if you're watching this video, or you watch a lot of videos on YouTube about these subjects of the great debate between atheists and theists and others, you know, if you're watching all this and you're really soaking it all in every day, you're in a different world than other people. So when you see atheist or theist plastered on someone, it's going to mean something to you that people from that other world who don't involve themselves in religion and politics anything divisive. People in that other world who somehow just shut their brains off and have fun, they just don't see things the same way. And some of them would see the word theist, and they would not know what it meant at all, even if they saw other people around that person tagged with the word atheist. They might have an idea about that, but the word theist itself is something that you wouldn't hear in most churches that you would grow up in. You know? It's completely a contrived term that just it's been coined by those who speak about religious debates and debaters, just to set aside, everyone who isn't an atheist. You know, it wasn't that the term theist came before atheist. No, atheist came first. The etymology of atheist precedes that of theist. And usage-wise, it's so rare. If you're hearing the word atheist a lot, that's one thing. But if you're hearing the word theist a lot, then you are completely immersed in this world. So, if you saw in your Google Glasses theist or atheist, you would probably react to it in a different way. I'd think that most people who aren't interested in the great debate would tune their Google Glasses to see which football team everyone is supporting. They'd see Steelers stuff for me, and they would just see a little Steelers logo, and everyone would have like their entire Facebook profile would be matched to your facial recognition, so it'd be like whatever filter people wanted to filter people as, and I would, if I were using that filter, probably stay away from everybody who is a Baltimore Ravens fan, because who cares if my quarterback sexually assaulted someone? You got a murderer on your team. Eat that, Pikes Peak Ocean. So yeah, as a thought experiment, I think it works well if you stay within the confines of it. But I just have like real world experience looking people up, like wondering, hey, who was that person who showed up to our meetup? And then going on meetup.com and seeing their profile, and then cut and pasting their name into Facebook to see if, they were a plant like Lamont Mapp, one of the local apologists who goes to a lot of atheist stuff, and if he doesn't self-identify himself in the beginning of a meeting, he will be waiting to the end to pose a whole bunch of questions and try to monopolize at least a quarter of the questions of whatever speaker talked, and he will really derail things because he's not from the same perspective, and he's there to actually make a statement with his questions to an atheist audience because he feels a calling to come proselytize to us. And so I think in the real world, you would want to know if something like that happened and you saw somebody who just didn't seem to fit. You would investigate, and I did, And it's not that Lamont and I aren't friends. We're Facebook friends, and I tag him in pictures when I take a picture of a whole crowd. But, yeah, he has a picture of him and Dawkins because I took it. Um, if you see someone's status like that up front, you might understand why they were doing what they were doing, and sometimes that doesn't make things better. You know, it you know if you have someone that's kind of obstructing the flow of a meeting or a lecture, when you find out what perspective they're coming from, sometimes you feel like, oh, he's just spoiling our meetings because he's trying to win us over for Christ, or oh, that damn atheist, his questions were just there to put doubts in our minds because Satan. I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole. I know I could, but I don't want to. So thanks for the comment, Jeremy. Um, I really feel like if we could have a day where we all got sock accounts, where we didn't self-identify, and we all acted like Brian J. 1962 and just did not identify up front, and just had discussions about topics without first identifying who we were or what we were, and we just talked about things, we might get a little bit more done, or at least get a little bit more done in a way that knowing where people are coming from up front doesn't get us there. So maybe it would be a good perspective changer to look at every issue with other people and just completely do it blindly with sock accounts where we haven't told each other who we are. Maybe that's why Reddit is so popular. I don't know. Till next time, everyone, this has been another Mountain Dew fueled ramble.